I started the website vintagebmx.com in 2002. In 2000, I actually partnered up with a gentleman out of California, Randy Schaffner, and we started an online forum called oldschoolbmx.com, which more or less supernovaed about 19 months later, and I resurrected as vintagebmx.com in January of 2002. And the logo for Vintage BMX was the Motomag wheel, the aluminum webbed mag wheel that was made famous by BMX products in the 70s. It was a memory for me because it was my first true BMX bike having this wheel, this webbed wheel. And so what I did is I tattooed myself with the Motomag. And it was the start of what has been for me a lifelong, just a passion. BMX, racing, freestyle, anything about the sport I've always loved, and so I've more or less branded myself. And then a couple of years later, I started getting the hankering, for people that have tattoos, know what it's about, you need to have more ink. I started thinking about what was going to be my next tattoo. And I remember a television show, Kung Fu, David Carradine, and in the opening scenes of the show, he's a Shaolin student, and he's in the temple, and he's going to graduate, or he's going to become a Shaolin priest. In order to do that, he had to do this ritual where he had to lift this cauldron of burning embers with his forearms, and on one side of it was a dragon, and the other side was a tiger, and it branded his arms. So for life, he would forever be known as a Shaolin with those raised brandings. And so I thought to myself, that was the perfect segue for me to show what my passion was and to brand myself. And trying to come up with the appropriate symbol for what my life in the sport has been about, I thought about my 20-inch career. I started racing BMX, I got into freestyle and was freestyling, and then eventually started racing again, and before I injured my knee and couldn't ride anymore, so I put my last 20-inch wheel, which was a graphite tough wheel. So what I did is I brought that to this arm, and going between the two is the start and the end of my BMX career as a racer. But when I did get these tattoos, it was the start of my career behind the scenes, giving back what BMX has given me in my life, which to me has been a tremendous amount of friendship with people and a skill set that I've been able to turn around and utilize and just grow the sport and grow my involvement in what I do. But it all started right here.
Schwinn Cyclery for putting up with this very large crowd. And I'd also like to thank Ron Stebbin and the Whitensville team, Freestyle Force, and we got a whole bunch of others. We also have a representative from Hull Cable Systems in Hull, Massachusetts, videotaping the competition. And I'd like to say that the American Freestyle Association, Van Doren Rubber Company, Skyway Recreation Products, Horror Designs, Amy Grips, and possibly Vector BMX USA are all going to be getting copies of the videotape today, which means for you guys that are riding, these companies will be seeing you. Hopefully within the next week, I will be getting these tapes mailed out. So look your best, because what they'll do is they'll see these people riding on the tape, and possibly they'll pick up some new sponsors. You guys can pick up some sponsors.